to them, a consumer can rank various combinations of goods and services in order of his preferences. Okay. And for example, if a consumer consume two goods, यहाँ पे दो goods की बात होगी. For example, apples and bananas. So whether he prefer apple over banana, ranking order दे सकते हैं हम. Okay. Whether he prefer apple over banana or prefer banana over apple, but both are equally preferable and both of them give him same level of satisfaction. Okay. तो ranking order में यहाँ पे करेंगे हम. Right? And this theory is given by J.R. Hicks and R.J.D. Allen, and because of that, it is also known as Hicksian analysis and indifference curve. Ordinal utility approach भी कह सकते हैं, indifference curve भी कह सकते हैं, और Hicksian analysis. Anyways, आपको बस ये पता होना चाहिए that is in this theory a consumer can rank various combinations of goods and services in order of his preference. Okay, और कोई भी combination होगा, he is getting fully satisfaction. Okay, so here we can it make use of ordinal numbers like first, second, third, यानी कि ranking order में दे रहे हैं. Okay, it means if the consumer likes apple more than bananas, two commodities should be there. Apple, banana ले लो, bread, butter ले लो, कुछ भी ले सकते हैं, car and petrol. Okay, then he will give first rank to apple and second rank to banana. Such a method of ranking the preferences is known as ordinal utility approach. Okay, so ordinal utility is the utility expressed in ranks. So when we express the satisfaction in ranks, तो हमारा ये हो जाएगा ordinal utility. When we expressed in utils or monetary, then that is known as the cardinal utility approach. Okay, वो मार्शल ने की थी, ये किसने की है? That is the Hicks and R.G.D. Allen. Okay, I hope it's clear now. Now, the meaning of indifference curve. अब यहाँ मेन आपका क्या आता है? Indifference curve बनानी होती है. Right? Indifference curve क्या होती है? That is when a consumer consume various goods and services, that is two commodities, then there are some combinations which give him exactly the same total satisfaction. Okay, वो वहां पे combination ऐसा बनेगा जहां पे total satisfaction आपको मिलेगा consumer को, and his income is also fixed. Okay, the graphical representation of such combination is termed as indifference curve. Indifference curve refers to the graphical representation. एक आप diagram बनाओगे of various alternative combinations of bundle of two goods. So there should be two goods. Okay, condition ये है, among which the consumer is indifferent. It means there is no change. Consumer is satisfied, fully satisfied with the combination of two goods on a point, and that is going to be known as the indifference curve. Alternatively, indifference curve is a locus of points that shows such combination of two goods which give this कंज्यूमर सेम सेटिस्फैक्शन. तो जब सब पॉइंट्स को हम ज्वाइन करते रहेंगे और वहां पे डिफरेंट डिफरेंट कॉम्बिनेशंस ऑफ टू गुड्स होगा, उसको हम अल्टीमेटली क्या कहेंगे? दैट इज द इंडिफरेंस कर्व. फॉर एग्जांपल हियर, ओके, यहाँ पे क्या है? पी पॉइंट पे 1 एप्पल है, 15 बनानास है, कॉम्बिनेशन है. क्यू पॉइंट पे क्या है? 2 एप्पल्स एंड 10 बनानास. आर आपके कॉम्बिनेशन पे क्या है? दैट इज द आर पॉइंट पे 3 एप्पल्स एंड 6 बनाना एंड सो ऑन. सो व्हेन वी गेट अ कर्व, दिस कर्व इज नोन एज इंडिफरेंस कर्व. ओके, so we can just have this combination of apples and bananas at the various point P, Q and R, S, T. Apples आपने 1 लिए तो 15 bananas लिए combination. 2 apples आपने लिए तो 10 आपने bananas लिए. Okay, तो इसमें क्या है? वेरियस कॉम्बिनेशंस आप करते हैं एंड देन यू गेट अ कर्व. It is a downward sloping curve. Okay, that is known as the indifference curve. When these combinations are represented graphically and joined together, we get an indifference curve. That is the IC1. IC, that is indifference curve. Okay, then apples are measured along the x-axis. आप ये भी बता सकते हो कि x-axis पे आपने apples measure करे हैं and y-axis पे bananas measure करे हैं. Okay, and all the points, that is P, Q, R, S, T, आप देख ही रहे हैं इसमें, on the curve show different combinations of apples and bananas. These points are joined with the help of a smooth curve known as the IC curve. तो बस आपको यही इसमें बताना है. Okay, बहुत ज्यादा कुछ इसको डिटेल में नहीं करना है, बस सिंपल आपको मीनिंग बताना है. Then you need to draw this diagram and just make it happen. That is P, Q, R, S, T. आपने एक points बना दिए and then you just show that is apples are taken on the x-axis and bananas on the y-axis, and the combination, each combination, the consumer is getting the fully satisfaction. Okay, that is he is getting the equal amount of satisfaction to the consumers. Okay, so the consumer is said to be indifferent, यानी कि उसको कोई changes नहीं लाना है. Right, the combination of P, Q, R, S, T give equal satisfaction to consumer and therefore he is indifferent among them. Now these combinations are together known as the indifference set or indifference curve. Now important points क्या है? Increase in one good requires a decrease in the other good and vice versa. जब हम एक good को increase करेंगे तो हमें दूसरे को decrease करना है, otherwise इसका ये जो है law काम नहीं करेगा, assumption काम नहीं करेगा. In case of indifference curve, each combination of two goods give equal satisfaction. So when a consumer increases the consumption of one good, एक को consumption increase करोगे तो दूसरे का आपको कम करना ही करना है, right? Then why does it happen? Because of the law of, you can say here, in such a combination, consumer will have more quantity of one good, which means more satisfaction as compared to the other combination, which is against the basic. अगर हम नहीं करेंगे, right? Why does it happen? It happens because if consumption of apples is increased, while that of banana is not decreased, हम एक consumption बढ़ाते जा रहे हैं और दूसरे का कम नहीं कर रहे हैं, तो क्या होगा? More quantity of one good, which means more satisfaction आपको मिलता जा रहा है एज कंपेयर टू द अदर कॉम्बिनेशन विच इज अगेंस्ट द बेसिक अजम्पशन ऑफ इंडिफरेंस कर्व, यानी कि एक को कम होना है और एक को ज्यादा ही होना है, राइट? सो नाउ वी जस्ट कम टू दिस पॉइंट, एक मोनोटोनिक प्रेफरेंसेस आपका 1 मार्क के लिए पूछा जा सकता है. लेट्स एक्सप्लेन दैट ऑल्सो. दैट इज कंज्यूमर ऑलवेज प्रेफर द बंडल विच हैज मोर क्वांटिटी and mu falls, that is marginal utility, marginal utility, that is a satisfaction falls and total utility increases. ओके, तो ये सिंपल इसका ये बेसिक इसकी बस आपको पता होना चाहिए मोनोटोनिक प्रेफरेंसेस क्या होता है. फॉर एग्जांपल आप एक मॉल में गए, वहां पे बंडल्स रखे हुए हैं. फॉर एग्जांपल मैं आपको पहले बता देती हूँ. सपोज देयर आर टू बंडल्स. बंडल ए में क्या है? 10 एप्पल्स एंड 10 बनानाज है, और सेकंड में बंडल में क्या है? 7 एप्पल्स एंड 7 बनानाज. तो आप एक कंज्यूमर के हिसाब से आप क्या किस चीज को आप कौन से बंडल को प्रेफर करेंगे? ऑब्वियस ही बात है जिसमें 10 एप्पल्स और 10 बनानाज हैं, ठीक है, बिकॉज यू नो that is there is more in number. Okay, so monotonic preference means that a rational consumer always prefer more of a commodity as it offers him a higher level of satisfaction. कंज्यूमर को जहां पे हाई लेवल ऑफ सेटिस्फैक्शन हो रहा होगा, ठीक है, वहीं पे वो अपना वो रैशनल कंज्यूमर प्रेफरेंस देगा उसको. ओके, इन सिंपल वर्ड्स मोनोटोनिक प्रेफरेंसेस imply that as consumption increases total utility also increases, और हमेशा पे हमें पता है marginal utility decreases. Okay, so इफ सपोज टू बंडल्स है, वहां पे 10 एप्पल्स हैं 7 बनानाज हैं, और सेकंड बंडल में क्या रखा है? 9 एप्पल्स एंड 7 बनानाज. देन विच वन द कंज्यूमर इज गोइंग टू चूज? अ रैशनल कंज्यूमर विल ऑलवेज प्रेफर मोर ऑफ अ कमोडिटी. तो मोर ऑफ अ कमोडिटी क्या है? 10 एप्पल्स 7 बनानाज. देखो 7 बनानाज दोनों में सेम है, बट स्टिल ही इज गोइंग टू चूज द बंडल इन विच द एप्पल्स आर मोर. ओके, सो दिस इज ऑलरेडी बस यहीं पे यहीं पे आपको यही बताया गया है ना. इंडिफरेंस मैप, जब हम बहुत से इंडिफरेंस कर्व को एक साथ बनाते हैं या ड्रॉ करते हैं, तो क्या होता है? वो उसको इकट्ठा करके हम जो बनाते हैं, दैट इज नोन एज द इंडिफरेंस मैप. यू कैन सी देयर आर सो मेनी 3 इंडिफरेंस कर्व्स, 1, 2 and 3. ओके, so indifference map refers to the family of indifference curves that represent consumers preferences over all the bundles of the two goods. ये two goods के आपके preferences बने हुए हैं. So an indifference curve represent all the combinations which provide same level of satisfaction. ये same level of satisfaction ही provide करता है, and every higher or lower level of satisfaction can be shown on different indifference curves. It means IC1 क्या हो रहा है? सबसे नीचे है, तो ये लोवेस्ट सेटिस्फैक्शन शो करेगी. IC2 जो आपकी कर्व है, यानी कि इंडिफरेंस कर्व 2 जो आपकी है, वो IC1 से ज्यादा आपको सेटिस्फैक्शन करेगी शो, एंड IC3 हाईएस्ट होगा. ओके, यहाँ पे क्या है? कॉम्बिनेशन यानी कि बहुत ज्यादा है, राइट? So each indifference curve shows the same level of satisfaction individually. It must be noted that higher indifference curve represent higher levels of satisfaction, as higher indifference curve represents a larger bundle of goods. यहाँ पे क्या हो गया? यहाँ पे y के थोड़े कम ही बंडल होगा, और x का भी कमोडिटी का बंडल कम होगा. यहाँ पे जो थोड़ा सा बड़ा, ठीक है, यहाँ पे समझ लिए, यहाँ से y का बंडल क्या हो गया? ब्लू लाइन तक लाएंगे तो ज्यादा बढ़ जाएगा, और यहाँ पे आपका x का भी बंडल बढ़ जाएगा. लेकिन IC3 पे क्या हो गया? y की कमोडिटी और ज्यादा बढ़ जाएगी, और x वाली कमोडिटी IC3 पे भी ज्यादा बढ़ जाएगी, राइट? तो सेम लेवल ऑफ सेटिस्फैक्शन इंडिविजुअली ज्यादा बढ़ रहा है. ईच इंडिफरेंस कर्व इन द इंडिफरेंस मैप indicates different level of income of the consumer. That is, the higher the indifference curve, higher is the level of income. Now, marginal rate of substitution, we हम पहले भी पढ़ चुके हैं. Marginal rate of substitution is the rate at which the commodities can be substituted with each other so that total satisfaction of the consumer remains the same. For example, in the example of apples, हम कितना उसको जो है substitute कर रहे हैं. For example, यहाँ पे marginal rate of substitution का आपका जो है formula है units of willing to sacrifice, यानी कि change in sacrifice upon change in gain, जो हमने शुरू के चैप्टर में पढ़ा था, right? Now let's see with the help of a diagram here also and a table. जब आपने एप्पल 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, तो इसका डिफरेंस 1 का है, तो 1 हमने यहाँ पे कर दिया है. देन फॉर एग्जाम्पल 15 बनानाज दिए, तो इसका डिफरेंस क्या हुआ? 10. पहले में तो कुछ भी नहीं आएगा. 10 and 15 का difference 5 है, तो it means you are sacrificing 5 bananas for 1 apple. Then same here, 10 and 6 का difference क्या है? 4 bananas with 1 apple. Then 3 bananas and 4 apples and one apple and so on. Okay. Then, as seen in the given schedule and diagram, when the consumer moves from P to Q, P और Q से जा रहा है, he sacrifices 5 bananas. तो ये जितना भी मैंने अभी आपको बताया ना, that is with the help of the table, you can easily just describe that. Okay, the main thing is this, that is, in other words, the MRS, it is marginal rate of substitutions of apples for bananas, is diminishing. It means it keeps on decreasing. Diminishing or slope of indifference curve as represented by the MRS is continuously declining. आपको पता है MRS हमेशा declining करता है. This gives to the shape of convex to the indifference curve, और ये shape आपको कहते हैं हमेशा convex. Okay. Now why MRS diminishes? ये diminish क्यों करता है? Because of the law of diminishing marginal utility. मैं already आपको ये last video में इससे पहले बता चुकी हूँ. That is a most important thing. In the given example of apples and bananas, combination P has only one apple and therefore apple is relatively more important than bananas and so on. Okay. Now, assumptions of indifference curve. There should be two commodities. Then non-satiety, it means it is assumed that the consumer has not reached the point of saturation. A consumer always prefer more of both the commodities. ठीक है, both commodities में ज्यादा हमेशा वो चाहेगा कि bundle उसको मिलना चाहिए, just because of this. That is monotonic preference. Then ordinal utility means you can rank it. Okay, on the basis of the rank. Then diminishing marginal rate of substitution, we have already discussed that. And then the rational consumer, that is the consumer assumed to behave in a rational manner, that he aims to maximize his total satisfaction. Now, properties of indifference curve is very important. Indifference curve are always convex to the region just because of MRS declines continuously because the law of diminishing marginal utility, you will explain that. Then indifference curve slopes downward because it is convex. Okay, and he must consume less of the other good. एक को ज्यादा बढ़ाएंगे तो एक commodity को कम करना पड़ेगा. Okay, because the consumer has to decide to have more units of one good and will have to reduce the number of the units of the other good. Then higher indifference curve represent higher level of satisfaction, as I've already told you. Then indifference curve can never intersect each other क्योंकि हम दोनों हमें commodity को use करना है. Okay, so as indifference curve cannot represent the same level of satisfaction, they cannot intersect each other. Okay, क्योंकि यहाँ पे जो A point है आपका वो B point में आपका है यहाँ पे. That is, for example, IC1 will be same satisfaction from point A and from point B on IC1. देखो point A जो है और point B जो है वो IC1 पे है. So it means the satisfaction is same. Then at indifference curve was IC2. यहाँ पे क्या है point A and point C. It means satisfaction आपको same मिल रहा है. But can you say here that is point B and C should also give the same level of satisfaction? No, because C is giving the higher satisfaction. Okay, and B is not given. At point C, IC2, the higher satisfaction is there, and IC1 at point B, it has a low satisfaction. We have already studied there. Therefore, two indifference curve cannot intersect each other. Now, let's here discuss that indifference curve can neither touch x-axis and nor y-axis. ये बहुत important question है. If the indifference curve touches y-axis, अगर ये y-axis को कर देता है, it means the consumption of commodity on x-axis is zero. तो हम x का कोई भी consumption नहीं कर रहे हैं, तो ये तो possible है नहीं, because there should be two goods. Consumption of two goods should be there. Similarly, if the indifference curve touches the x-axis, अगर touch कर लेता है x-axis को, it would mean that the consumption of commodity on y-axis is zero. Okay, so indifference curve can never touch of any of the axes. So if indifference curve is asked, then you must know the meaning of indifference curve. Okay, then assumptions and the diagram and properties of indifference curve, you will mention just 2 to 3 words. Okay, and this will complete your whole answer and you will score more good. Okay, so with this we come to the end of this year, and now the next would be budget line. Okay, thank you for watching.